All this meeting to order the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Tony, you want to take us through roll call? Present.
Counselor Johnson,
Present.
Counselor Quaid,
Present.
Counselor Hendrickson,
Present.
First item on the agenda is public discussion. This is any questions or concerns that are not on the agenda tonight. And just, you'll see an addition on their comment cards. This is the comment card. It's back on the sign-in table right by the basket that's there. If you're not comfortable getting up in front and asking a question or making a comment, which I totally understand, feel free to fill one of these out, leave it in the basket tonight, and it'll be addressed at the next council meeting. Okay. That being said, are there any comments from the public at this time? No comments. Okay, that's fine. We will move on then to correspondence.
yes, I just included informational letter that we got from Northern Natural Gas. We do have a natural gas pipeline that runs through the community, so we get these periodically, so I just included it as information for council.
Any comments or questions on that? Consent agenda. These are any items that are considered to be routine. We will just have one motion, one vote, unless there is a counselor that would like to pull any of these for further discussion. So we have the council minutes from June 23rd, council minutes from July 14th, executed claims from July 15th to July 28th, totaling $75,766.62. Then claims on 7/28, totaling $1,455.18. We also have two resolutions, resolution 2521 appointing election judges and resolution 2523 approving county project on the Schultz Road. Officers? If there's no discussion on these, I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, we have Counselor Johnson making the motion, Counselor Hendrickson seconding. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay? Okay, passed. Department reports, utility update and report. Who is leading this? Jane?
For the water side of things here, we got Minnesota Department of Health lead line service inventory. Funding for technical assistance is now available. SEH will be the engineering for this project with the goal of working with property owners to identify the remaining 84 unknown service line materials on the private side. We met with SEH on July 15th to discuss the strategy to go moving forward, and there'll be more information to follow with this. Also, Minnesota safe drinking water fee as of January 1st, 2026. The Minnesota safe drinking water fee will increase from $9.72 annually per water connection to $15.22. Rice Lake customers will see this fee as Minnesota connecting fee or connect fee on their August bill. We will include notification of this increase to customers on utility bills, the Community Connect portal, and the newsletter prior to the increase appearing on their 2026 August billing. For details about this increase, and fee. See the attached form from the Minnesota Department of Health. Sewer, it's a little bit smaller update, we'll touch briefly on the generator project for backup power. Public Works, has received 2 out of the 5 generators and all 5 transfer switches from Total Energy Systems. And the Public Works Department, will be working with the electric, when we're installing the concrete pads to ensure that the conduit, is in the correct place for setting the generators. And this project is still expected to be completed fall of 2025.
Any idea on when those other 3 are coming?
Middle to end of September, it should be. So we should be able to get the concrete pads poured and get the 2 smaller ones we currently have all installed and wired, ready for startup. And then it's called just dropping in place and wiring.
Any other questions? Okay. And you want to take us through the comparison worksheet as well, there for sewer and water?
2025 water comparison for the month of June. On the Water Rice Lake bill was 1,503,396 gallons. Total from Comfort Systems was 1,778,120. With the water difference of 274,724 gallons, with a total loss of 1,664 gallons. Sewer for 2025 of June, sewer wheat bill was 1,212,017 gallons. WLSSD was 1,502,300 gallons for a total sewer difference of 290,283. For water, for as of now through January to June, for us, for billing customers, it was 8,106,575 gallons. Total from Comfort Systems was 9,566,837 gallons. The total water difference of 1,233,262 gallons. The loss total of 7,468. Sewer totals year to date for what we billed, 6,651,897 gallons. Total from WLSSD is 10,073,500 gallons for a total loss in sewer of 3,421,603 gallons.
Okay. Any comments? Thank you, Jacob. We'll move on to council reports. Councilor Henderson?
Yes, over the last month or so, I've gone on a couple different tours of the city, just seeing where some of our projects have been working, looking at the water tower and at some of our lift stations and where the city water hookups are, as well as looking at our roads and seeing how we can be better at having the water drain off each of the roads. And then we also went to some meetings down at the tech. So I believe that was that was the end of June. So all that stuff's been in the last month or so.
Councilor White?
I really don't have much to add here today.
All right. Councilor Johnson?
Thank you. It's my first month back. I got right into the swing of things, met with city staff the day after my appointment, met with Public Works the day after that, and then spoke to the fire hall on that Thursday evening. Spent a good amount of time with Tony Bloomdahl going over budgets and where we're at with the city and everything I missed in the last 6 months. We attended the Red Run. The temperatures were perfect. Nice cool day for that. Bob was there and Jamie. I attended the corridor meeting at the airport. We as a council will need to be involved with picking out lighting fixtures and how we want to light the entire project. So that should be coming our way as the design keeps moving forward. The new city connector road will need to be named. We talked about it on my last term, but now, we're getting closer to the planning stage, and I would suggest naming it after our first mayor, John Warner. But that will be open for discussion as we move forward. I attended a Minnesota Power Utility Extension line meeting. They are now gonna enter the design stage. Shane, Councilor Quaid, Kim and I set new bricks at the Rice Lake Memorial Park. It was a beautiful day to do that. I know Kim had fun because I kidnapped her and brought her over there to do a special brick. And I was also honored to set a brick with one of our residents for her husband. And there were a lot of tears shed and a lot of hugs that day, so it was just a special thing. And that's the reason I came back, was to meet with residents and do those type of things. Councilor Quaid and I, we cleaned the effervescence off the bricks. We tried 3 different cleaning products and found 2 that worked. Councilor Quaid volunteered this time to help over there, so don't say anything. We're always there when we got work to do.
We're busy that day.
Councilor Hendrickson, Supervisor Downey, City Administrator Tony Bloomdahl and all. And I spent a couple Fridays driving around looking at infrastructure, water tower, metering station, pumping station. And that was really good for Councilor Hendrickson to see all that. We had a good time on the Friday afternoon doing that. Mayor Hyman, Tony, and I went to our Hermantown City Council meeting to see how their meetings were ran. I think that's something that we'll start following in, but I'll let Mayor Hyman discuss more of that. I'm just part of that work. Anytime anybody wants to see us, always reach out when we can or anytime. I'm happy to be back serving the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. As far as me, as I'm sure you can recognize, I've been a little busy past few weeks, kind of getting up to speed. I attended the Rice Lake Corridor meeting, along with Councilor Johnson and Tony. I have no more to add than what you had said, but things are moving along. There will be another meeting for resident information sometime this fall. And so we'll keep you certainly aware of that. I also attended the utility meeting that we're running up to the Stebna. Not a whole lot to report on that right now. This was the first meeting that we got the whole team together. There will be several more meetings on that. There will also be resident meetings regarding that as well. So we will definitely keep you all in the loop on that. Yeah, as you mentioned, we went to the Hermantown meeting. Pat McDonald was there as well. And it was, I felt, very helpful. They do things a lot differently than we do. However, when we spent some time with the Hermantown mayor after the meeting, he indicated that, they've been around for 50 years, we've been around for 10. And that considering that we are still a relatively new city, he feels that we're actually a little further ahead than what would be expected. So that made me feel good about where we're at with the city. But again, really liked the way they set up their meeting. I would like to talk about that a little bit more. I think we have that on the agenda a little later, don't we? Yes. So I'll expound on that a little bit more. Things that I liked. I would expect Tony to chime in on that, as well as Councilor Johnson, because we may have picked up on different things. So that's what I've been doing. Later this week, I'm having lunch with Senator Housechild. Although we have met each other before, we have not spent a whole lot of time talking about things. He actually contacted me, which I thought was wonderful on his part. So I'm looking forward to that. That is all I have for council reports. Let us go with new business. First thing on the agenda for new business is appointing an acting mayor. Now, we talked about the role of the acting mayor at our last meeting, but just as a quick refresher, the acting mayor steps in whenever the mayor is not available for conducting city business, whether it's running a meeting, whether it's attending another meeting that the mayor would typically attend, that, well, basically that I would be unable to do. We are required by state statute to have that position filled. And that being said, any comments from council on who they would like?
I would nominate Counselor Bob Cleve. His longevity around the city is priceless, and he's earned that seat.
I have to say, I agree. His 10 years of experience is invaluable. He rarely misses a meeting of any sort, and has been in attendance at enough council meetings to know how to run one if necessary. So I certainly would agree with that.
I agree with that too.
And are you willing?
Yes, I will.
Don't have much of a choice.
Thank you.
Just don't go anyplace.
I don't plan to go anywhere until Alaska next summer.
Can't cancel your vacation.
All right, Counselor Johnson has made a motion to appoint Counselor Quaid. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Counselor Quaid abstains. Okay. Then 8.2 is the resolution declaring vacancy. Resolution 2522, acknowledging incompatible offices. Tony?
Yes, so I'll just read it. It's a pretty short resolution. Whereas the Rice Lake City Council has appointed Counselor Jamie Heim as mayor on July 14th, 2025, and Jamie accepted this appointment. And whereas this appointment creates a conflict of interest through an incompatible office of city council and city mayor, therefore be it resolved by the Rice Lake City Council as follows. The council acknowledges Jamie Heim's conflict of interest as described above, and the council declares that a vacancy exists on council effective on July 14th, 2025.
Thank you. So basically what this means is we need to appoint a new counselor. And we will discuss that process in just a minute. Do I have a motion to accept resolution 2522, acknowledging incompatible offices and declaring a vacancy?
I will make a motion to accept resolution 2522.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Counselor Henderson made the motion, Counselor Quaid seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay? Yes. Now let's move on to the process for appointing city council member, and this is where we're going to want some input. As was brought up at the last meeting, it is not that long ago that we had 6 candidates that were qualified, apply for the position that was open. Counselor Johnson was appointed to that. However, that leaves 5 that are very qualified. Do we want to open it up to further applicants? Or do we want to continue with the 5 that remain? Anyone?
Well, I'm okay with the 5. It's just a matter of if there is someone else that wants to throw their hat in the ring, although it hasn't been that long ago where we had 5 people. So my personal feeling is to go with the 5 because I feel like everyone had a chance. But I guess I could be talking to you, opening it up as well.
Councilor Clay, your thoughts?
I think we had some good candidates in that, the remaining five. We've got stuff coming up here. Next year's budget is right on the doorstep here. We've got work to do.
Yeah.
It's, I think it's important to actually build this. To. Yeah, just so, what's the candidate?
Councilor Johnson?
I think we should open it up again to all of Rice Lake citizens. I don't know if any more new ones would come up. I mean, they see how great it is. I came back. I mean, we wouldn't want anybody to miss an opportunity like this, but truthfully, it's awesome to serve. That's why I came back. But I think we should open it up to all the citizens of Rice Lake. I don't think the floodgates will open, but I definitely want the other 5 candidates to come back too.
I would like to open this up to resident comment. All right, would any of you like to come up?
Elsie Corby, 4210 West Calvary Road. You did interview the other 5 candidates. You kind of put them through the ringer a little bit. They answered all your questions and everything, and I agree that if there was people that wanted to be on it, they would have been in on that one. Instead of wasting more time waiting to fill that space.
Thank you.
Michael Jagger, 3924 Fairview Road. I was one of the candidates last time, and my feeling is that in the interest of openness and transparency, I think it would be better to open it up again and give people that chance. I know it was recent, and I understand the reasoning for that, but I think it's a new opening, and I think it would be fair to open that process up again for a new position.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tara Alshire, 4802 Oak Road. I agree with Sylvia on the fact that I feel like those people kind of got their, for lack of a better word, they slapped when they came out really hard and put themselves out there and then got rejected, and now basically opening it up so they can get rejected twice seems kind of cruel, but if they want to, they can. But I also think that we need to take into effect, establishing a connection that doesn't have entanglement with the city. And by that, I mean any entanglement. There should be nothing that equals somebody already having a connection. We need a clean slate. I know, some people are already involved in the fire department or what have you. That means they're already working closely with people that are already in the city, and we just need clean, fair, new slate. And I don't feel like the last round of voting really gave the people that applied and put their hearts out there that chance. So I think we need to consider how brave those people were.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, one thing that I do want to say, I want to make sure those candidates, because there are some of you here, understand the time commitment that is necessary for being a counselor. It's not just 2 meetings, a couple Monday nights a month. Each one of us is on several different committees. I know the committees that I'm on, all week during the day. So if you have an outside job, as most people do, you need to be sure that your employer will understand that you will be needing time off and that you're not gonna get in trouble in your main job, because you're not gonna get rich here, let me tell you. But that your employer understands the time commitment that you're making to the city. And I guess for any of you candidates that still would like to be considered a candidate, let Tony know if you have any concerns in that area and would like to withdraw. Other than that, I agree with what Counselor Johnson said. This is a very rewarding position to be in. As I said, you don't make a whole lot of money, and sometimes you make some enemies, but at the end of the day, you really feel good that you're making a difference in the community, so I highly recommend it to anyone. That being said, now let's get back to, are we going to open it up or not?
Can I ask Tony a question? Did you email all the current applicants?
I did, yes.
What did they come
Um,
back with?
3 of them responded back saying they are still interested. I did not hear from 2 of them.
Okay,
I'm torn on this. I agree with the transparency. But again, it's only been a few weeks since we put this out there, and I really would like to get this position filled as soon as we can. I hate to spend another council meeting interviewing. Just my opinion.
I'm okay with. If we hear back from all the other applicants, can we, did they all want to serve, and we could just go with those 5 applicants again? Or if a couple of them don't want to be there, then I think
Open it.
we should open it for the qualified to come back and say they would like to still run for city council. I feel like we just had this done. Feel like we had some good applicants. That's just my personal feeling, so.
It's a good compromise.
but will it delay?
Yeah, it'll delay.
Because currently, we're down to 3 applicants. Are you in the room, all 3? Raise your hand. Tony, what are the rules for this process?
There really aren't any rules for it. It is really council decision as to who they want to appoint. The candidates just have to be qualified to actually serve on council, so Rice Lake residents over 21, which I think all of our candidates. There's one other thing too, but I can't remember what it is.
You need to use a computer.
You do, yes.
You need to be able to navigate email, texting, yeah. Those things that we all kind of take for granted, but maybe not so much, I don't know.
If I could do it,
Very true.
barely. But also keep in mind, this seat will come back up for election November 26th, right?
No, November 3rd of next year, 2026. It's a good way
So
to try it.
it's a short-term appointment. I'd rather not be making all these appointments, I'd rather let the deal go down at the ballot box, but you're gonna play the cards you dealt, so this is what we've got. It's a temporary position.
All right, I'm looking for a motion to move forward.
Can I make another comment?
Mhm.
If there are no rules, make the appointment tonight, and then we can have an extra ice cream scooper at neighborhood night out.
That's right there.
I can scoop.
Anybody else volunteering? No, seriously, I mean, if there are no rules, can we appoint tonight, Tony, or do we have to do this notice? And, I mean, it'd be nice to get someone back in here working, then we can bring them on for the ride of infrastructure and road patrol. And hang out with Daryl.
Nope, there are no rules.
I would rather give it till next meeting.
I would rather do that as well.
Yep, I really would. I wasn't sure until tonight who was still interested, and I need to go back over the interviews that we did so that I'm better prepared to make a solid decision.
I agree. So are we gonna keep it with the same applicants or open?
That's what we need to figure out right now.
A lot of high school filters that natural night out.
We can use them all.
You can all still come.
Yeah.
I'm just struggling because I feel like, part of me feels like it should be open and that people should have a fair shot, but we did just do that. And so because they're so close together, like for the three that want it, like, I really feel like you three should have the opportunity. But if there was someone that is open to it, I feel like they should have that opportunity as well. So can we,
How about we will open it up for 1 week. That gives plenty of time for us to review any new applications that come in, if they do. Next meeting, we're not gonna re-interview the candidates that we have already interviewed. I think that's a waste of time. If there are new candidates, we interview them that night and we make a decision that night.
I'm okay with that.
I agree.
I agree.
Do we need to motion that or just,
No, I think that's
okay,
clear enough direction.
that's what we're gonna do.
Well, just one point of clarification, to open through next Monday? Okay.
Okay. One other thing, this isn't on the agenda, but it kind of ties in with what we've been talking about. As I mentioned, all of us are on a lot of other committees. With Mayor Hersted's resignation, we have some committees that need to be filled. The committee she was on did not require the mayor to be on that committee, so they are open. And I would suggest we wait until we have a new counselor, and then we reevaluate our list of committees that all of us are on, and mix and match as we feel is most appropriate with a new person. Is that agreeable to all of you?
I agree.
Okay. In the meantime, if there are any meetings that Mayor Herstead was to be present at, let me know. I will fill in. Okay. Resolution 2524, setting special election date. We did discuss this at the last meeting. I gave input, Councilor Hendrickson gave input. I asked for input from the residents, there was none. But we did not hear from either Councilor Quaid or Councilor Johnson. So I would like to know your thoughts. Basically, to sum it up, state statute dictates that a special election needs to be held because the open position is over 2 years. It's actually 3.5 years. So I was appointed the mayor for the next year, well, until we have the special election. Statute also states the election will be held at the next regularly scheduled city election, which in our case is November 3rd of 2026. Unless the city has an ordinance allowing otherwise, which we do not. That's what we were discussing at the last meeting. But again, we had no input from the two of you, so I would like to know your thoughts on that. We can go through the process of making an ordinance. That won't be done sometime next year, but we can do it.
I think we put this special election with the next general election a year and a half from now, and that would be a 2-year mayor term.
Yes.
That would be voted on, and then after the 2 years, it would go back to 4 years to get back on the cycle that Mayor Erstad had. I agree what you have laid out here. In resolution 2524 is appropriate.
I agree.
Okay. Tony, could you read this election, or I mean, this resolution, just so it's in the record? Surely.
Whereas Rice Lake City Council has appointed Councilor Jamie Heim as mayor on July 14, 2025, and Jamie accepted this temporary appointment. And whereas the mayoral appointment is a temporary appointment, therefore, the city is required to hold a special election at or before the next regular city election to fill the remainder of former Mayor Erstad's unexpired term ending December 31st, 2028. And whereas Minnesota State Statute 412.02 subdivision 2A states, special elections will be held at the next scheduled city election unless the city has an ordinance allowing otherwise, which the city of Rice Lake does not. And whereas the special election was discussed at the July 14th, 2025 council meeting with public input requested and none was received. Now therefore be it resolved by the Rice Lake City Council that the special election to elect a mayor for the remainder of the term ending on December 31st, 2028 shall be held on November 3rd, 2026 at the next regular city election.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2524.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Counselor Hendrickson made the motion, Counselor Johnson gave the second. All in favor of approving resolution 2524, setting special election date, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Yes. Tony, Minnesota Small Cities membership.
Yeah, I included this in your packet. We have kind of talked about this a couple different times. It's just an association for all cities with population under 5,000. So it's an annual membership. Currently, we are members of League of Minnesota Cities and then the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities. So this is another organization we can join if you feel the need to. I know I do occasionally get emails from them. I'm not sure if anyone else gets emails from them. They're just kind of out watching any legislation that is proposed that might affect smaller cities. The coalition kind of does a lot with that already too, because
Right, that's what I was gonna say. Is there any benefit that they would provide that one of the other two organizations does not?
not that I'm aware of.
And I personally don't see the need to spend any more money on memberships.
I feel that too.
I agree too.
Okay.
We're pretty well served by the other.
Okay.
LMC does a great job.
Yeah.
So that's a no. I like the easy ones. Meeting structure discussion. When we went to the meeting at Hermantown, some things that I really liked. When they have the, public discussion at the beginning of the meeting, typically the way we have been doing things is a person gets up, says what they think, and we all sit up here with blank faces. I've never liked that. And at the Hermantown meeting, someone comes up for public discussion. And if the answer is known at that time, they get it right then. I like that. If they don't know, then they'll take the time to research it, but they'll bring it back to the next meeting and give the answers then. Similar to what we plan on doing with, these slips. I really liked that. The other thing that I really liked was anything that is going to be voted on later in the agenda, such as ordinances or resolutions, public input is asked for. The way they did it was they would do an explanation for the ordinance, an explanation of the ordinance, council discussion, then public input, additional council discussion if needed, generated by the public input, and then a vote. They did the same thing with resolutions. I like that. I had a question recently, and I've always wondered this myself. When is someone supposed to give us their input on something we're voting on that night? Because it's on the agenda, so they can't bring it up in public discussion. I just feel that's wrong. I think if we want the residents to give us input, we have to give them the opportunity to do so. So those were the two things that I really took out of the Hermantown meeting. That and saying who did the motion and who the second, because sometimes that gets lost. So I will be attempting to do that. Counselor Johnson, what did you pick up?
I agree with you fully on the layout of the Hermantown meeting. What I also noticed is they had all their department heads, like Shane Downing, Carly, sitting up at the council with them, so they're speaking to the residents instead of the residents looking at their back. So I would like to swing this desk over and make sure we have the fire chief here, Public Works Supervisor Downing, Carly Hungerford, Sharon over there with city administrator, and then you can all see what we're talking about instead of looking at our backs. Because see, they're hiding in the kitchen right now. We want them up here.
Another thing that I didn't witness it because I wasn't there for their pre-agenda meeting. This is something I would like us to think about, how we could possibly do this. Basically, what they do is they have a meeting before the meeting. And they go through the exact same agenda. All the city staff is there. Residents are invited. Residents may not contribute at that meeting. But this is the time that council can ask staff questions to clarify what's going on. I liked it. The only bad thing is determining when we would do those meetings. Because in my mind, if we did them right before the council meeting, if staff needs to do more work to get answers that we have, they have no time to do that. Then again, we always have the option to table. You know, we can always table something. They used to do it on Friday mornings, 7 in the morning. They found that did not work well. They also have their agenda set in stone the Wednesday before the meeting. So no changes after that. And I'm not sure if that's feasible for us either. So that's down the road. I plan on going to another meeting where they're anticipating a lot of public input. There was very little at the meeting that I was at. It was a short meeting. But they're anticipating a meeting that has a lot of public input, the 16th of August. So I plan on going to both the pre-agenda and the full meeting just to see how they actually do all of that. Of course, any of you are welcome to come. If you do so, if we have more than 2 of us, we'll need to post, so let Tony know. But I am going to be there and I can certainly bring it back.
I will be there, Tony, so that's,
I would like to make that one as well, but it can't be the 16th, that's a Saturday.
Well, then it isn't.
Tuesdays, right? No, Mondays.
No, they're Monday, 18th.
18th?
18th, yeah. So just so all of you are aware, our city meetings are going to be changing a little bit, but I think it will be for the better. And, we'll keep you posted on all of that.
I like that, we have a chance to hear from the public a little bit more on what we're discussing. So I think that would be really good. Yeah.
And in our packet, Tony has like a possible cover letter like they do. Tony, do you want to talk a little bit? You were at the meeting too.
Sure, yeah. What I noticed from my perspective was just that it felt like the council was very informed on every item that was on the agenda. So probably thanks to their pre-meetings that they had. And yes, also that they do allow public comment. When I was first looking at it, they asked for a motion and then there's an explanation, which is kind of the opposite of what we've normally done. But when they did it, it just seemed like it flowed well, because then once all the discussion was done, they could just move right into a vote and didn't have to ask for the motion, so.
And I think they're able to do that because of that pre-agenda meeting.
Right, yeah.
Any more comments on this? Are you all on board with exploring?
Yeah, let's keep moving forward.
Okay, good deal. And I'm not asking for public opinion on that because I'm sure you all support it. Thank you.
Yeah, the way it's designed, or the way we've been doing it, your public comments is early in the meeting. And like you say, our blank faces, and then you sit down and the rest of the meeting is, you know, if you wonder, geez, what was really on the mind of that person? When we're dealing with separate individual issues, I think that's a good idea.
As we actually move forward and put plans in place that are more concrete, I certainly will be asking for resident input on this.
It'll still be following what Robert's Rule of Order, and we have to have decorum, and it can't just be a free-for-all for the whole meeting, but still have to follow the agenda.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the Fair Road pavement project.
I think everybody's well aware of Fair Road being in rough shape, so. The condition, has been discussed now for several years, and the cost to redo the whole road, came in pretty high. And the first route that he, tried to go, obviously didn't go very well, so, we're proposing to, repair the first section of the road, with city staff, removing, all of that old, asphalt from the road and prepping, doing all the dirt work in preparation for a contractor to come and lay new asphalt on that section. The proposed project starts, just after the county's existing 100-foot apron off of Howard Denison. And is gonna go another, I guess, and then the new section will be 400 feet going west. I did receive 2 quotes, for the paving of the 400 feet, which are attached. The Asphalt of Duluth and Northland Construction are constructors. Moving forward, I would recommend, or my recommendation would be to approve the Asphalt of Duluth's blacktop, quote of 400 feet for $29,080.03.
Yeah, Northern Construction is
Yep,
almost 10,000 more, isn't it?
Yep, Northland's came in at $38,659.
Comments?
And our crews will use our equipment, prep.
Correct, yep. As of now, yes, we may have to find, some alternative for compaction, but other than that, yes.
Don't we have a compactor?
Yeah, plate packer, we need a little bit more than that for this,
Okay.
just to obviously ensure we get proper compaction. So we're not in the same scenario in a year or year and a half.
And this is part of your budget, correct?
Yes, and this was a budgeted, it's in the roads budget for 2025.
Well, I sure like the idea. I like the way that sounds. That's for those of you that don't know, that's the road I live on, and I've called it the Little Ho Chi Minh Trail for years, because it's one patch on top of another. I often watch mothers push their babies in a stroller down there, and I go, oh, that poor kid, you're gonna rattle them to pieces. It's a bad shape.
Just the
It's
nature,
been,
it's the nature of it. You patch it and then through the winter.
it's been about 35 years, I think, that it's been blacktop.
Anyone else? Residents, do you have any comments?
Did you say you're replacing the asphalt?
No, we just tear it out.
There's not enough there to reuse.
It's in really poor condition. Or, I mean, like I said, over the years, you patch, and then as you rip them out from plowing, the patch comes out and then chunks of the existing asphalt, so it's just bigger and bigger. The first 400 feet is really bad.
Yeah, that's the worst of the whole stretch, and then I guess if we do it in pieces, then it'll take several years to get it done, but that's the east end of it is bad.
Correct, yeah.
Well, if there's no more comments, I will look for a motion.
I got one last comment. Okay. Counselor Quaid and I own property on Fair Road. This new pavement is not in front of our residents, period. I don't want to hear it out on Facebook tonight, but we're going to be transparent. It is not in front of our properties.
Will it increase your property value at all?
No,
Oh,
I don't know that it would, and if it would be very minuscule if it would. But they are also not the contractors involved with it, so they're not receiving a direct financial benefit from it.
but you can improve property value, is conflict of interest.
we also grade in front of a lot of residents. And we plow roads. I just wanted to make it clear that they're not taking here, so
Right,
I think we can approve it.
I understand.
I think every resident, there's about 35 mailboxes on the Fair Road, so it went to the residents a couple of years ago to assess, for an assessment to do the whole road at once. All the neighbors would like to have the road fixed, but they didn't want to be assessed. Doing it in pieces as our budget allows us, we can't take all of Rice Lake's road budget and repair one road. You gotta spread pretty thin, so. But everybody on that road is in agreement, it's falling apart.
Oh, yeah. How far away is this from your properties?
You can, if you want, I guess I could give you a full or honest answer, but I do have it marked. If you are in the area, you guys can all look and see.
400 feet, that is.
Yeah, 400 feet, never go far.
It's just the worst part of the way.
It's just past that first residence, second driveway.
I suppose it won't increase property value much because in front of your place sucks.
I'm a half a mile in.
All right, I guess I'm okay. You're voting. So I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve item report. AIR 25016, asphalt abuse, moved the bear.
I have a second.
All second.
All in favor, say aye.
I
That was Counselor Hendrickson and Counselor Quinn.
And Shane, what kind of timeline are we looking at?
I would say end of August, but I gotta confirm the date with the contractor.
All right, 8.8, rezone contour properties, 4958 Riceland Road. Tony?
We received a request to rezone, property on Rice Lake Road, parcel ID number 520-0017-00583. Who is currently residential 1, and they are requesting that it be rezoned to mixed use. The planning commission did hold a public hearing about this on July 22nd at a planning commission meeting, and they did vote unanimously to recommend approval of rezoning that parcel. So before you is the administrator's report. And then just a couple of different maps showing the current zoning as residential 1. The future land use map, this parcel is in the mixed use future land use zone. So this would actually be an amendment to ordinance 22-5, which is our zoning map. Copy of that, and then the new proposed map of the entire city, as well as a summary of that ordinance 22-5.
I honestly thought that that was a commercial piece of property. To be completely fair, like I'm shocked it wasn't.
Yes, why did it not?
Yeah, it's from the good old days when we would just rezone whatever exact parcel commercial was happening on and not anything else around it. Where now they're all in the same ownership, so if this would have been vacant land, we would have probably had them rezone all their parcels to
Yeah.
the correct zoning.
It's, if I remember correctly, they don't have any particular plans right now. They're just doing this ahead of time, being proactive.
I believe so, yeah, just sort of, it kind of conforms with the future land use map and the comprehensive plan.
Everything else there is already.
Yeah.
So,
Well, not entirely.
no, you're right, there's one other piece.
Yeah, one other parcel that's owned by their neighbor.
Yeah.
Any comments?
It's pretty straightforward.
Any comments from the residents? Rezoning this property? No comments. All right, then I'll take a motion to either approve or deny.
I'll make a
Rezone.
motion to approve ordinance 22-5. Rezone.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. That was Counselor Quaid and Counselor Hendrickson. Now, moving the zoning office door. So you want to give the history on this?
Sure. When we had built the addition, we talked a little bit about the location of the door. I think, some of the initial plans were that might be a location where the sheriff's office would be in the future. It's just where it's now, and it is the office that, Carly is in. It makes it very difficult for her to kind of interact with the rest of office staff, because she has to literally walk through 2 doors before she can come and talk or ask any questions. The other issue too is, when people come in the building, they have a tendency to stop at the first door, or the first person that they see, instead of going up to the front desk, which is, where Kim sits, kind of her job to greet people. And then kind of the third component is just safety for all city staff, that we're all kind of in one combined location, and that's, that is, we got one door that the residents or whoever may be coming in to talk to us would come through that door to come in and talk, so. We did get estimates from two different contractors, K&W Builders and then Anderson Building. They looked at the jobs. The one from Anderson was for $6,890. So they'd be removing the door with the thought process of reusing it on the other side, drywalling and tiling. We do have the tile that will match with the rest of the hallway. That was at Public Works, so they will do that, and then we'll have a couple of extra windows that we can do whatever with. And then the estimate from K&W Builders was for $11,900. So we are
Almost double.
We're recommending that we go with Anderson Builders. And then I did kind of go over in my report where the money can come from. This wasn't necessarily something we had budgeted for in 2025. But we do have $3,000 in our building improvement fund for City Hall here, and then around $2,000 that's in our contracted maintenance for City Hall that I think would be available to use. We do have $9,000 in our City Hall capital improvement account, which is those are the accounts. We haven't really done this the last couple of years, but at the end of the year, if we had excess funds, we would kind of keep squirreling those away for projects such as this that pop up. So I would recommend that, yeah, we would use that $5,000 that we have in the 2025 budget. And then depending on where everything else falls out at the end of the year, we can see if we need to transfer some money in from that capital improvement account, or we just end up with enough in the budget to cover the shortfall there.
Well, I think it's a good idea, if only for the safety aspect. Right now, she has one way out. There's only one door out of there. And if there is a situation, she can't get help from the other because easily, and she can't get out of there easily. Even if it's just a fire. Everybody else has two doors to get out of that area. She has one. So for that reason alone, I support this.
Support it as well.
I support, it just doesn't make sense. If when you leave, you notice the door that's kind of offset in there, first door you had to come in. This really doesn't make much sense why it was built that way in the first place, but I thought we were gonna be done spending money on this building for a while, but it's never ends. But it's a good idea for safety, safety is awesome. And just having the staff better able to communicate without yelling.
Any comments from the residents on this? Agreed.
It makes sense.
Thank you. All right, then I will look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the quote from Anderson Building on $6,890.
Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion made by Counselor Henderson, seconded by Counselor Quinn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Basically, donation policy. Well, leave this to you.
We had some conversations here at the city, regarding one of our employees who is, family's going through a little bit of a health issue. and he's running low on sick time. He's kind of using it as soon as he's accruing it. So someone had asked the question, can I donate my sick time? Well, according to our personnel policies, that is not something that is allowed. There is FMLA, which will be going into effect January 1st of 2026, which does actually address a lot of these types of issues. But for the interim, we thought we would put forth a policy for you guys to consider where, other employees here at the city can donate some of their sick time to this particular employee. Kind of carry them through the end of this year. So, kind of spelled out what was allowed. As I mentioned in my email to you guys, we're just throwing out some options, so it's all certainly up for discussion if you would like to discuss the amount of hours or calculations or any of that type of stuff. We can certainly go over that.
Have you heard back from the union yet, if this is acceptable?
I have not, I was gonna reach out to him tomorrow if you guys were in favor of it, so yeah, we wouldn't most likely be able to enact it until after we get a agreement with them as well.
How would you anticipate salary differences or wage differences, I should say?
So what I put out as a proposal is that if the person donating their sick time is at a lower salary rate, we would kind of calculate, taking their currently hour rate, dividing that by the hourly rate of the employee that would be receiving it, and then that would be the actual sick time amount that they would receive. For those that have at a higher rate, then it would just be a 1-for-1 ratio.
Any comments, questions?
I just want to thank staff for thinking of this employee and their family. And this is just really good. I support this 100%.
I do too, as long as there's no bumps in the road as far, I don't think the union would have a problem with something like this. My former employer did something similar just prior to me retiring. It was well accepted, the generosity of people and then the person that was receiving the benefits, it was really appreciated. So it just makes for good work culture.
I really like this. I think it's really neat. This seems like the right thing to do when I like that.
All right, so I guess we'll table this until we get a response from the union.
We have to approve it, or what are we?
Unless you want to approve it with the stipulation that it won't go into effect until we have a,
Union approval?
yeah.
Okay. Good with that. Then do I hear a motion?
I'll make sure to approve the employee's sick leave donation policy.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, that's Councilor Johnson. Councilor Henderson with the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay, unfinished business. Ordinance 22 amendments. This is the short-term rental that we discussed at the last meeting, tabled until it went back to planning commission, which they did. One thing that they struck out of it that I don't support is they do not have that the property owner must reside at the rental property for at least 6 months of the year or on property directly adjacent to the rental property. The reason I don't support taking that out is I don't want, um, people from Duluth or anywhere else coming in and taking all of the licenses that we have. And then our Rice Lake residents don't have access to any. This is something that I feel we should be promoting to help Rice Lake residents, not Duluth or Minneapolis or wherever. So I would like to keep that in there myself. My opinion. Comments? Charlie?
Can I just clarify,
Yes,
so that struck out portion on the copy that you have, the draft that you have, was not actually the final. I think planning commission went back to actually discussing, or maybe we had discussed, not necessarily living in the property or directly adjacent to, but living in Rice Lake, I think is how that would be worded.
correct. That's what we wanted to see,
Okay, yeah, so,
but that's not in what we have here.
correct, because that's strike it. So, but I just wanna, if you move forward with that, I don't think that was the language that, when we had spoken, that you were intending on. So I just struck what was there.
Okay,
So it would be
we need to come up with our language then to get it the way we want it.
correct. Yeah,
That's not us.
Carly, can you stay up at the podium?
I don't wanna have my back to everyone, so I prefer to be right here, please.
See, we should move it over. We should have you right here.
Yes.
I got a statement that I'd like to talk about, but we're still open for comments.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
My friend at the last meeting stated that if we don't regulate long-term rental, we shouldn't regulate short-term rentals. Rice Lake doesn't have enough staff to implement this new policy or inspect properties to issue and renew licenses. I suggest we make it an allowed use, as we've never had any complaints about short-term rentals. And I'd like to have Carly, speak to that statement.
I did put as a preferred alternative, which to me, in speaking to Tony, and I've spoken with almost all of you about this topic. And again, I've been through this so much and so constantly that it's hard to pull myself away from it. So I really just, I'm not gonna say I got selfish, but I really looked at my job, and, because I would be the one enforcing this through and through. And I just went, all right, I'm gonna go with what do I think is realistic for the work that I do and that's expected of me. So I did put in some suggested alternative or preferred alternative of adding short-term rentals as a permitted use under those uses and keeping the proposed performance standards without the provisional use permit language. So making it an allowed use in certain zoning districts with performance standards. So with all of those same requirements that we were putting there, but not requiring them to be permitted or licensed, not requiring them to be licensed. And I know that goes to, well, how are we gonna keep track of it? How are we going to know? And my honest answer to that is, how are we going to know, even when we do require licenses, those that are doing it without one? Unless someone complains. And then what do we do with that if someone doesn't have a license? Or even now, if there are violators of this out there right now, because currently it is prohibited. There are only 5 that are grandfathered, and there are roughly 14 out there. So what I can do is I can send letters to them all, which I've done, and tell them this is not allowed. There were a couple that said, oh, I wasn't aware, and they stopped the use. There were 5 of them that came back and said, well, it was allowed, or we're grandfathered, and that was kind of what brought us to this. And none of the others have been a problem, so it hasn't been something that the only option with any teeth really for enforcing the zoning ordinance is to fine them. And it would be a nuisance violation, or sorry, it would be an administrative fine, for a zoning ordinance violation. I'd rather not do that for people who are not causing any problems and are using their property in a respectful way, and so that's kind of where I went with that.
So, just so I get it clear in my mind, what you're suggesting is that anyone that does short-term rentals has to follow everything that we have in this policy, but we're not going to license. Is that what you're suggesting?
Correct, except they wouldn't require a license.
Are we going to require that they're a resident?
That would show. But that's my opinion. That's going to be the challenging part to enforce, because how will I know? Even if we are requiring permit, we only know if they ask and if they come in and get a permit. And in the 7 years I've been here, I've not received any complaints. They haven't been nuisance properties. I think we did have one short-term rental owner that had mentioned, that he had a couple issues. One of the ones that's been a long-term, like 10 years he's been doing this. He happens to live right there too. But he actually called the police or went over there and resolved the issue. These are week-long stays. So if there are problem renters, they're gone, after a short amount of time. And then the property owner, if they're going to be successful in this business, has to clean up whatever mess they made, and they're certainly gonna blacklist those people, if they have caused the problem. So it really is, if it is a problem, it's such a very temporary problem that I just see it as a pretty benign issue.
I first looked at this January of 24. I called the city of Hermantown to ask them, hey, what do you guys do? Because I know the residents wanted this. And city of Hermantown says, we don't have any issues with them, so we're not gonna regulate them. And I was shocked to hear that population of 10,000. And then, the ball started rolling all the way into, last fall. We had heated discussions here, and the policy that is before us tonight sets so many limits. We're gonna be back in here changing this policy to have the guy from the military that got transferred overseas, and he's stationed overseas for 2 years, but his house is here, but he doesn't live here. There's a lot of roadblocks in there. And I just feel with the roadblocks, with our staff not having enough time to implement all this and follow up, I would make it an allowed use, and we revisit it every 6 months to every year, because you can pull a report from St. Louis County, hey, how many do we have? I don't think these are growing anymore now that we're out of COVID. I think they're actually going away and people are getting their homes back. I don't see corporations buying these. I just don't see it running rampant.
I don't think it's decreasing. I really don't.
What it sounds like to me, everybody that's already in the business. The properties are well maintained, they're nice, they're expensive, and they wouldn't be marketable if they weren't nice. I don't see where anybody's doing anything wrong there, but I think they're all responsible property owners that are just trying to use the property to make a couple bucks on.
So we don't have any stipulations at all for long-term rental? Zero.
Correct.
They don't have to have numbers posted or anything like that.
We do not regulate them. We do not have the staff to enforce it.
Mhm.
That's just, it would be, and we would have to charge so much for licenses in order to afford to have another staff. But it would be a full-time job, really. In that case, but then I would think we could visit all of it. But
I don't see where there's a big problem with it for right now. These 10 or 20 years down the road, who knows what it might look like, but I suppose to have some restrictions is probably a good idea, but
If we go for the long term.
definitely.
I guess I would be okay. Make it a permitted use. And we revisit it again in a year and see if we're having any problems.
Is it permitted right now? Do we have?
no, it's prohibited right now.
Oh,
That does not mean it's not happening.
right.
Let's open this up to the residents.
I have a question. I'm totally confused now because are you saying there's not gonna be any type of restrictions on, anybody can do it then? Is that correct?
Correct.
And is there gonna be stipulations of they have to reside in Rice Lake?
No,
So that means that anybody can come in and they can live far away and they can have the short-term rentals here.
they can do that with long-term rentals right now as well. So yes,
Yeah, well, they did, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so would it be better to have some kind of cap or something on this?
if
You know,
you
I
can
said-
think of a way to enforce it, that actually
Well,
works.
yeah, I would think, if you're going by, how many police calls do you get for a certain residence and how many times has the sheriff been out there or whatever, would that be a way to, have some accountability?
I don't have that information at my disposal.
Okay, so I'm just confused on this whole short-term rental land. Anybody can enlighten me?
Basically, there's not a permit required right now, correct, on short term. It's prohibited in Rice Lake
It's not allowed.
currently.
There are, except for the handful that are grandfathered. We didn't prohibit it until, May 22nd of 2023.
And so there's others that are doing it without the grandfather.
Correct.
So, and what you're saying is you don't have the staffing or the time to check into all of that, the people that are doing it. If it's fine, but I mean, is this opening the door for other people that don't live in this city to come have these things and then when problems come up, we have nothing that caps it?
We
Or not-
don't, I mean, really, we don't anyway, and that's because the zoning doesn't really have any teeth, so I don't have the legal authority to stop them if they choose to just do it. The worst thing I can do to encourage them to stop and follow the rules is send them a fine.
But like you said, on a short-term rental, it's a property owner will have to go in and clean everything up. They'll have to make sure
Well, yeah,
that
you're
everything.
counting on the policing themselves, but
But if they don't, I don't think people will rent them either. Right? So like if your place isn't clean, and you're posting it on like VRBO or something like that, it comes with a cleaning fee. You have to do that before you can re-rent it out. So it's a quick turnover if you want to have that. And I feel like most people will want their properties looking nice. I really don't see a huge issue with there being problems because the property owner will not be able to rent their place out if it's not a decent place to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
I could see more problems with long
with
term.
long term, I actually think there is
well, there you get slumlords.
there you get it into longer issues where you have trouble getting them out of that place.
Yeah.
Where a short term, you're in typically a weekend, maybe a week, and that's it. So I actually like a short term better because there's turnover.
So what you're saying is that anybody can have short-term rentals then? I mean, that would be, there wouldn't be any restrictions on it, right?
Right now, no one can have short-term rentals.
Okay. Getting back to that.
So what I am proposing is that it would be a permitted use in certain zoning districts. And it's been on the last several agendas, the proposed language with those performance standards. So those would be the rules that anyone who does it has to follow. So would you like me to read those? Is that beneficial or no?
Well, not if we're not gonna establish them.
No, we would be establishing them. Those would still be the rules that everyone who does a short-term rental has to follow, just like there are rules in place for anyone operating certain types of businesses. We have performance standards, and those are the general guidelines, rules for certain uses. So these would be the rules in place for all short-term rentals. And if they violate those, then they get a fine. It's $500. If they violate it the next week, then they get a fine. The problem is, I don't think I'm gonna hear about it, because if they're having a problem, they're going to call the police. They're not going to call zoning at the city for somebody being noisy. You might, because you know that the zoning lady will fine them $500. But
So, and by calling the police, are you talking about like downtown police or Duluth police, or are you talking about the sheriff that works for us, with us, or?
St. Louis County deputies are who
So
work
they-
in Rice Lake. Duluth doesn't have any jurisdiction in.
Okay, so if they got called to a resident several times, wouldn't it be, where they would notify you, or?
Probably not. It's just like they don't now. I mean, we have, if you look at the sheriff's report each month, we have a ton of privately owned, owner occupied problem places that I'm sorry, but as a zoning official and as a resident who's a neighbor to some of these people, those are a lot bigger problem to me than someone who's renting their place out to someone who's on a family vacation for the weekend to go skiing and use amenities and eat at restaurants here and drink at the bars here. That I can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
You asked my question.
Thank you. Anyone else have comments?
Well, little curiosity thing being on the zoning board, I mean, what we have discussed it over and over, we got kicked back to us, reviewed it again. I was telling Carly that I personally had experience with people that had for short-term rentals on the north side of the Twin Cities that just said, have at it. So they did. And people from the city came up and bought properties up outside on the north side and started just for profit and use them for party houses. And these poor people in the area all of a sudden had these short-term rentals extra, with kids partying all hours and overpopulated them. And they finally had to go back to what we're doing now and start regulating them out of the area instead of preventing us from coming in to start with. And I always figure prevention is better than curing. And we do have this, now there's a lot of ordinances we got in this city that people don't even know what they are. This could be one on the record that say somebody from outside the area comes in and says, they're checking in Rice Lake, so I'm like a piece of property. Do you have an ordinance on short-term rentals? We can say, yes, we do. And it may maybe the ones that are gonna just buy for profit and for party houses may go, maybe I'll look over at Denise and Friedberg someplace. No, it's on the books. Most people aren't gonna be even questioning about it, know about it. But it'll be there, and that's all teeth in it for future. And maybe people that, most people are here living in it, doing it, are taking care of it, we're not gonna have a problem with. And somebody come outside the area from another area, say, let's go up there and pick one up there on the north side of the cities, or Duluth. You get a lot of tourists in there, maybe you can turn the buck, and they don't live here, and not gonna keep the place up. It may keep them out of here. So if the ordinance is on the record, to have it for future, if you need it, hopefully you're never gonna need it. Maybe we never will get a call, but you have it, rather than revisiting the same shit, you're gonna do it all over again. Just,
So what type of ordinance would you recommend?
I think we,
covered it pretty well at
This is
zoning
good.
board. I think we got it pretty well covered, you know, most of it. I mean, there might be a few little restrictions, but I don't think that, you know, I mean, having some of postings of information, accountability, you know, things like that in the house, it actually make the people renting it, make them feel better too, knowing that that's there. That they are taking, you know, I've got a lady that I know up in Elborn. Friends, so she rent her barn out on short-term rental. Because all they gotta do is nothing, just open it up, let the people rent it. You know, they're not regulated at all. She can rent a barn out if she wants to. There are no stipulations, so I guess being a city, as we are, we should be a little more responsible to people, and if people come in here, tell we do have an ordinance on it, this is what we'd like you to do. And I don't think you have to police it that much unless you get a complaint. And I don't think you will, because we haven't been getting complaints to speak of, have we?
0.
Yeah, so, but it's there, it's on the books. Rather than revisit this stupid thing again, if it's here, we can say, well, we do have it. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
One more?
Oh, you might certainly.
Okay, so really quick, you didn't ask for public comment earlier, and I just want to circle back around and just say the employee sick leave is so commendable, and I think that is the most heartfelt thing I've ever seen, and I find it poetic because today is my daughter's birthday and death day, and we went through hell, and that to me is amazing. So Justin will be donating as whatever he can, the max. So I just want to say kudos to the staff, whoever came up with that. That is very, very kind. Back to the short-term rental thing. I feel like, in my honest opinion, this was a can of worms that opened a huge waste of time. These are hypotheticals. Referencing party houses is no different than renting a long-term rental to a college students. I mean, you don't know if they're gonna be party animals. You don't know that. None of those things have happened. Carly said it time and time and time again. We have no issues. Why create issues? Not only that, and I speak obviously biased because I am an owner and I'm not in city of Rice Lake. I am directly across the street. So like creating all these things, if you have no problems, why create problems? We clean ours ourselves, but you talk about people that own it from out of town, they create jobs for local cleaners. And if I may, I know that Carly's mom has cleaned short-term rentals, and that's a little side hustle for Jamie Johnson, who is a local girl and cleaning. Don't make mountains out of molehills. This should have never been a topic. I heard Counselor Johnson reference January 24, and you said a resident complained.
No, that's
When
when I
you-
first started looking into it.
Yeah, but why did you look into it? Because that timeline directly correlates with my life and parallelism to things that started going awry. And I just wonder, why was this even an issue?
I just called the city of Hermantown and asked them what they had.
So
we
just to
could-
poke the bear. I mean,
We like to talk to our other cities and see what they do.
I just find it hypocritical coming when we don't have anything in place for long-term landlords. It's ironic that we're talking about short-term landlords getting rules and regulations when our long-term ones are just free and wild and making big money.
I
So-
can speak to that. This came up because we had put the language in to completely stop it in 2023,
But why?
because several members of the council and staff, myself not excluded, were like, we're scared of this. So what do? You just put the brakes on. And so it was we don't really know how to handle this, and St. Louis County had just passed their ordinance. So it was, okay, well, now it's been publicized that the county is allowing them, they are regulating them. And I had talked to the folks at the county in their land use department, And I'm like, so how's that going? How are you regulating? And they're like, we're not really sure. We've got some applications. Some people are responding and some aren't. So it was kind of a fail safe to just go, all right, nope, not allowed. And I agree, in hindsight, this has been a dog and pony show since then. And I, for the life of me, can't find a justifiable reason to make it harder than it has to be. I've watched these folks, there's a couple of them that are here. I've spoken to them at length. I put the minutes from the meeting where they all spoke at a planning commission meeting. Spoke to this and all of the things that they go through to make sure that they have a reputable, upstanding business so that they're successful in it. If they're not successful, they quit and they sell the house. Or in our case, they might turn it into a long-term rental and then they'll really learn how that hurts the place. So
I can speak to both of that. And it's not easy. It's not easy being a short-term rent. Justin and I clean our butts off. We go after those 5-star reviews. That's the only way you can auto-populate that algorithm to place yourself at the top. This is our small business. This is no different than anybody opening a shop and selling their jewelry or doing something. You're putting yourself out there to be completely criticized by whoever your customers are. And you're just praying that you can treat people right and do the right thing and make the little bit of money. So in my case, I don't want to have to work at the bar for my extra job. I would love to clean a house with my husband and have my kids at night. And I don't understand why we made mountains out of molehills. That's all I'm saying. It feels like a complete waste of time. And every single example that has been given is some friend in another state or down in the cities. It's all hypothetical. We've had issues in Duluth over the years past with all the college houses. That would be no different. Long-term, short-term. We just had to evict somebody this last spring and it was awful. I personally don't ever want to do long-term renters again, because the law is not in favor of the landlord, the person who pays the property taxes, the person who busts their butt. People can be couch potatoes with no job and have zero respect for that person and just be like, well, I guess I'm not paying. And those are the people that don't get repairs on the house because now the landlord's, pardon my French, pissed off. So let's just take it for what it is, go back to before we even talked about this and just leave it alone until it's an issue. Because long-term renters have been an issue. Let's keep fairness.
All right, thank you, John.
Back.
Okay. One more. Oh, one more, okay. Sorry.
I'm Kathy Carlson and we live on Luzerne Road. And we built 3 townhomes together in a development. Our son lives in one. We live in the other. And the third is a small unit like our son's. And it's an Airbnb. And we've been pretty much full since we unlocked the door. Now, there was a time over the winter for 7 months, our new neighbor across the road had a home fire. So she came and asked if she could rent that. Because then her mailbox is there, she works at Quick Trip for dog, no problem. We just blocked it and she moved in and it was wonderful. I guess my husband and I moved from Woodland. And in Woodland, we had a long-term rental in our home. It started because I worked at a college, so we had a college student live with us. And then it was family members, and then it was friends who needed a place and whatever. And I got licensed through the city of Duluth, $200 every 2 years. The fire department. I gotta test all your smoke alarms and you need a railing or whatever. And it was not an issue. So when we came, we assumed there wasn't, it was like Hermantown, our mistake, because we invested over $1 million in this property. thinking the Airbnb could help us at some point, pay for it. So we're very invested in this decision. But we're on the property. We live right there. And it's kind of like, Karen and I have talked, across the road on Martin Road. I, not being from Rice Lake, when we first moved in, I remember asking Carly, is that a dump? Shouldn't there be a fence? You know what I mean? And I thought, wow. And the home Terrebonne that was uninhabitable, I knew the owner. And it was uninhabitable. And that person lived in it for 7 years in Rice Lake Township.
With a landlord from Hermantown. That
Yeah,
didn't make any
so
sense.
I thought, well, I get having, I don't care if you have a license and have it inspected and whatever. We're rule followers. We were at the planning commission meeting and you brought up that you should have posted the fire department, police department. We did all that. After that meeting, it's like, why didn't we think of that? And we're right there, but we're rule followers. And most people, I know a lot of people in different cities around Minnesota that have Airbnbs. And we're rule followers. We have to be. Because first of all, you put your life savings into the establishment or you're not gonna get people. Because the pictures are on the site. And they rate you. But you also rate them. And they will never rent a place if they don't get a good rating. It's kind of like a guaranteed good system for accountability. So I'm just asking, I mean, if there's a license we need to buy, pay for an inspection, whatever, I get that. But then I really do think it should be for long-term too. And the city of Duluth has a whole staff to do that. So I get what you're saying. I just want you to think long and hard. Because there's a lot of Airbnbs or VRBOs or whatever in the Twin Cities that I rented one in Rochester when we had to be at Mayo for a month. And it was awful. And I rated it that way. I mean, there are, but they're not gonna, it wasn't awful like, it was like they didn't even have a lamp. I mean, you couldn't walk up the stairs because you couldn't see the light bulb. I mean, there's gonna be other kinds, but I think in a smaller community like Duluth, Rice Lake, Hermantown, it's different than the Twin Cities, you know, or a town that's all medical. I just think there's a different clientele. They come because they want quiet. They want to enjoy Duluth. And then put their kids to bed in a quiet place, you know? So that's just my 2 cents, but thanks for listening.
Thank you. Reactions to the comments we received?
Totally okay.
Okay, with
Ordinances, I'd like to maybe just, in the piece that we were chatting, how to word it, like. That property owner must reside, and that's what we took that out, correct? That is blocked out,
that's blocked out.
so. Are we just talking on a permit, and that's it,
Would be a provisional use permit.
with the rules that are outlined in these ordinances?
Correct, that's the first option. The other option would be to not have it require a permit. but require all those rules that are in the ordinance.
I'd be okay with that.
Okay. Yeah,
I'd be okay with that.
so that'd be best for you.
Yep.
There we go.
Because especially if someone's just starting out doing this, there are things here that give guidance to guarantee safety.
Yeah.
That they may not think of. So I like giving them some guidelines.
If you put that PDF up, it'd be great to print it out, I would laminate it and put it at the front door. I swear to you, I would take a picture and send it. I don't have a problem following the rules.
Yeah.
At all.
So I guess what we're looking at here is perhaps a motion that will take out the verbiage regarding the permit. Do we want to put a residency piece in there or no?
Roadblocks.
I don't need to.
Okay,
Okay.
At this time, I don't see where it's necessary.
okay.
It's not broke, don't fix it.
What I would put in there is reviewed every year by the planning commission. Just to go over, just to discuss anything come up this last year, do we need to review the policy?
I can do that as part of a zoning report.
That'd be great.
And obviously, if there is something that is changing or is happening, that would be brought to planning commission for an ordinance amendment.
So I would point out K and L both reference the permit, so a permit
Yes.
for a short-term rental, so we would just strike those
Strike
two
those.
from the permit standards.
Yeah, any of the permit language, so
So strike A, K, and L. All right, then I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance 22 amendment. Might say K and L or any permit verbiage.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Counselor Henderson, a second by Counselor Quaid. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Pass. Okay, Cooper Road approach.
All right, as requested from the last meeting, you guys wanted to see total lengths to continue the Aber extension down the hill and down to the bottom of it. Which it makes sense. So the previous agenda report here, it listed a total of 350 feet. The county would be responsible for their 100-foot section, and then we were gonna extend it another 250. I did get some updated measurements, and that came up to 750 feet. It's roughly about 700 to the bottom. And I had mentioned when I was out there to Kim, I brought Kim with to see some of the stuff. And I said, well, you wanna measure out far, you don't wanna stop right at the bottom, you wanna get it out on the flat. And as I sent these numbers to Steve Crassaway at the county, he had recommended to make sure you're at least 50 feet minimum farther, extended off from the bottom of the hill. That was exactly what we did, so that worked out good. The updated numbers, the estimated cost that they previously gave us was 10,000 to 20,000, 20 meaning that's the max that the project would come out to. Now with the updated numbers to 750 feet, that estimated range is 25,000 to 50,000. There would be some minor ditching would be the north side right before you crest the top of the hill. There'd be some ditching that has to be done there. But other than that, we already spread all the gravel, so we have good gravel and base on the road. And previously to when I came on board, Kunst Excavating did that whole section right off of Eagle Lake Road in preparation for this project. But then it obviously was pushed out due to county budgeting and whatever else on their end. And it's confirmed they're gonna be doing it 2026, so the end of 2023-ish is when they did all the box culvert replacements, so it's ready to go, I guess. They need just cooperation with the city, and it'll be brought to their, commission meeting. I don't think it was in August, Steve said, for their approval on it. So my recommendation is that, approve the resolution 2518 just for the city to enter into the cooperative agreement with St. Louis County for the paving, the approach on Cooper Road. Be adding city responsibility of 650 feet added on to the county's 100-foot.
Oh, sorry,
No.
just to kind of clarify the county process. So they want us to do this resolution so we can get into a cooperative agreement with them. Then they actually put the project out for bid. And then that's when we would find out what the actual costs are going to be based on the bids that are awarded. And then at that time, we will still have the option to say, yes, let's go ahead with it, or no, you know, if it comes back being way more than we anticipated, we can always say no at that time as well. But it's kind of a pre-approval before we get to the,
We kind of just need to get this underway too for financial 2026 is coming up. So
Correct.
getting them to throw that in. our
And that's
budget.
part of that too, excuse me, is the $2,500 fee is basically their engineers, you know, constructing and making the plans for it also. This is in place before they start all of that construction phase, so they're not wasting their time and money on it, and then the city's like, you know, we're not gonna do it. Basically, as a portion of it.
So we do have a chance to say no later on if it comes in pretty high or out of budget.
we do, with the exception of that 2,500 admin fee, but yeah.
Comments? No comments?
No comments. I mean, we're just here to do the resolution 25-18. And we'll review the pricing. When was that coming? Shane?
He had mentioned, I have to look back at the emails, it's sometime the beginning of August
Oh, okay.
timeframe was when the commission, they were bringing that all up.
For the meeting, but the prices
Yeah.
wouldn't come back till they put it out for bid, which,
Next year, right?
yeah, I would imagine January, February sometime.
So you'll set some money aside anyways this year?
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
so we could approve the resolution and then discuss.
Cooperative agreement.
Yes,
We're not actually committing anything other than 2,500.
then Shane can work on his budget and we can talk about this as the year goes on for next year's budget request.
Residents have any strong feelings on this that we'd like to comment?
Just wondering where the money's coming from for.
That's what we're gonna figure out before we give them any.
I just think that's a huge increase from what the original quote, I shouldn't say quote, but the original estimation was of 10 to 20, and now we're looking at 20 to 50.
No, because we
They're
added
going
about
from,
500.
they're going from the city, being responsible for 250 feet versus 600 feet.
And what is the reasoning again for going that much further?
Well, if you're gonna go, I guess, extend it that 250 to the base of the hill, it's a steep hill, just like Eagle Ridge, so it's a constant trouble area, it's always washing out. This would eliminate that issue. That's, I wish Eagle Ridge was set up the same way and it wasn't a T to Eagle Lake. There's gonna be something down the road to look at also.
Can't keep gravel on the hills either. So this is a paving project, correct?
That's good.
All right, I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 25-18 for paving the approach on Cooper Road with St. Louis County with prices to be determined.
Do I hear a second?
I think that was 2513, isn't it?
That's the agenda item report. The resolution is 2518. Yeah. Okay, do we have a second? Brenda Gerlin?
I'll second that.
Counselor Johnson made the motion. Counselor Hendrickson did the second. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye. Opposed, nay. Yes. Okay, next month's calendar. Do not forget, on the fifth is our National Night Out at Rice Lake City Park. If you've never been, it is a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. A lot of stuff for the kids. A lot of good food. The fire department is providing food. The city is providing root beer floats. We'll all be scooping away. So hope to see you there. Oh,
We are looking for a volunteer or 2 or 3 to supervise the bouncy house. Everyone's favorite job. So if anyone has a teenager that likes that, or otherwise, yeah, it's gonna be, oh yeah, it's like your second one. Yeah.
hey, Farley, would that be our,
I have reached out to the Boy Scout troop, the local, because I just haven't heard back yet, and we're getting close, so, just figured I'd throw it up, since we have so many public servants in the room with us.
I did the kindergarten roundup, so if you can't find anybody, I'll do it with Amelia today.
There you go, yeah, you're gonna
I'm
be
gonna be standing there anyway. So if we need somebody,
You're gonna be right at the door anyway.
yeah.
all right. Well, a good time will be had by all. On the 11th, we have a 4 o'clock budget meeting, and then we have council meeting at 6. The 12th is the 709 school board primary election. 19th is, planning commission, 6 o'clock right here. MIC at 6:30 on the 20th. Duluth area township is on the 21st. Where is that held this time?
I believe that one's at midnight.
Okay. Okay. 25th is again, a budget meeting at 4 o'clock, WLSSD at 5, and city council right here at 6. If there are no other comments or questions, I'll take a motion to adjourn,
so moved.
right? Thank you all for coming and for your input tonight. We should